Hello, children. Here's Miss Gloria from New Life Church, and we're talking about the Ten Commandments. We're almost to the end now. We're at the very next to last commandment, and this is what it says. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. So when we hear that word testimony, that almost sounds like we're in court. You know, in court, people have a Bible. They put their hand on the Bible. They say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So it's kind of like that. I have a sign that says truth. And people will tell you that this commandment says that you're not supposed to lie. And it's true that we're not supposed to lie. The Bible talks about that. You might remember that last week we had the verse which said, keep falsehood and lies far from me. Give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. And here's another verse out of Proverbs about lying. It says, the Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. So we're not supposed to tell lies. And a lot of times people tell lies because maybe they don't want somebody to know what they did or they're in trouble. But there's another kind of false testimony I'd like to talk to you about too. And you may not think about it exactly as lying, but it can be very important, which is when we are a witness to something, when we tell somebody something that we don't know whether it's true or not, because maybe somebody told us something. And so we tell somebody else. We hear something about somebody and we think we'll tell about it. We hear maybe that Josie cheated on a test. Well, if we saw Josie cheating on a test and we told the teacher about it, that would be the truth. But if a friend just said to you, I heard Josie cheated on a test, and then you told somebody else, I hear Josie cheated on a test, you don't know that she really did that. Maybe your friend believes it and they told you, but you don't really know. People do that kind of thing all the time. They just repeat stories that they hear from somewhere. These days, it's so easy to do it. You can just have your phone. Somebody sends you a little message on your phone. You click it on, you send it to somebody else, and you don't even ask yourself whether it's the truth or not. I can give you kind of a funny example that happened some years ago. Somebody started telling people that McDonald's made their hamburgers out of worms. And that's kind of funny and icky. So people started saying that back and forth to each other, and people started believing that McDonald's made their hamburgers out of worms, which they didn't. Finally, McDonald's had to put out a statement saying, we do not make our hamburgers out of worms. Worms are more expensive than beef, which is what our hamburgers are made out of. So why would we do that? But things like that happen all the time. People hear things and they just pass them on. I wonder if that happened to the people in the Bible too. Let's find out what Jesus said about it in John. I'm going to tell you about it. Jesus had a friend named John the Baptist. In fact, that was his cousin. And God told John the Baptist he was supposed to live in the desert. And he was supposed to live a really special life that was different from other people. And live out in the desert and never cut his hair and not do things that ordinary people did. So we complained about John the Baptist. Jesus said it was a little bit like this. He said everybody complained about him. They're like, John the Baptist, he lives out in the desert and eats weird stuff. He only eats plain things, the things he can find in the desert. He doesn't eat normal stuff like other people. And he only drinks water. He doesn't drink wine like people do. In fact, he's so worried about maybe drinking wine, he won't even eat grapes. He just doesn't act like normal people. He's kind of weird. Maybe he doesn't eat anything at all. Maybe he just goes out in the desert and eats nothing and drinks nothing at all. John the Baptist is really weird. Maybe he even has a demon inside of him or something like that. Maybe he isn't serving God at all. So then Jesus didn't act like his cousin John. He ate ordinary food. He ate grapes. He ate some meat. He even drank wine. And people said about him, oh, that Jesus, he's not really following God because he just like goes to parties and he eats the things everybody else eats. He eats all this fancy, expensive stuff. He gets drunk. He like goes to parties. He does all of these things. People told stories about Jesus too. They just weren't happy either way. If people are going to be unhappy about people, they're going to find some way to say mean things about them no matter what they do. Now, John the Baptist and Jesus, they had very different ways of serving God, but they didn't think each other was wrong. They knew that each other was serving God in the way that God told them to. And so we have to be careful when we pass on stories about people. We have to be careful that we don't say things that are not true and that are just mean things that we heard from other people that we don't even know. Because it's not just about not telling lies. It's about making sure that the things we say are actually the truth.